The Evermore podcast is now sponsored by WFST Total Compliance. WFST provides fire safety requirements UK-wide to prepare you and your employees should the worst happen. Do what you do best and visit wfst.co.uk today. Enjoy the episode. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the instant match reaction to an utter rubbish game for Newcastle United down in London against Spurs. Comfortably battered 4-1 by Ange Postecoglou's men, who've probably got more injuries than we have. I'm fuming. I'm not happy about this whatsoever. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute. I've got plenty to say about it. I know there's circumstances behind it, but it just wasn't good enough, in my opinion, from start to finish. We'll get stuck right into this in a minute. Just before we do, a little reminder, if you haven't already, click subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 6,000 subs now. So thank you so much, everybody. Smash that button. We are still but a baby in this world of YouTube. But so many of you wonderful people have clicked that button, so we really appreciate it. It's all free content. If you do want to give a little bit back to the channel, there is an option there too to be a member, which is less than a pint of lager, which I'm sure many will be drinking tonight to try and erase that game out of their memory banks. We are live tonight as well, so jump in the comments, guys. There's plenty of you already in there. I've just seen a corker of a comment there, to be fair. You're all talking amongst each other already. I probably won't be able to keep up with all of them. Mark is lurking in the background in terms of pulling up some of the comments to keep me level. So I am definitely not happy about this performance. We'll get stuck right into it now then. So that's just how the lads lined up. No surprise how Newcastle lined up exactly the fucking same way we've lined up for the past 4 or 5 games, because we've got so many injuries that there's nobody else to really choose from. The only good thing about today was the rumours were true that Sean Longstaff and Callum Wilson were both on the bench, which was really good. So it gives us some options rather than zero options. But we were comfortably battered by a mediocre Everton side on Thursday night. And Eddie Howe played the same 11 and was hoping to get something different, which obviously didn't happen. So as the game kicked off, you know, to me, Spurs just looked like they were better than we were. They looked sharper. They looked like the passing was crisper. We did not have an answer whatsoever for, was it Destiny Undoggy? What a name that is, by the way. Destiny Undoggy. He was running rings around Miggy Almiron, swatting him away like a fucking wasp at a picnic trying to buzz around your sandwich. Miggy Almiron was useless today, in my opinion. Absolutely fucking useless. And when people talk about Miggy Almiron and you know how classy he is and all this other stuff, and always goes on these kind of purple patches and stuff like that, where he scores these great goals from distance and he has a little mini goal of the season competition. That game today was a prime example of why Miggy Almiron is not the player to take you to the next level in terms of a guaranteed top 4 finish in the Premier League, if there even is such a thing, you know, or winning cups or progressing further in Europe. Miggy Almiron has a great chance and he completely and utterly fucking scuffs it. And doesn't test the goalkeeper whatsoever. To me, that is exactly what's wrong with Miggy Almiron, in my opinion. He's just not consistent enough. He's not got enough quality in when you need it the most. You know, he's good when he doesn't have to think, when the ball just lands to him and he smashes one in the top corner or whatever it is. But people are wise to his game plan now. That little curl finish that he has on the edge of the box, that same ball that Bruno plays to him all the time. You see it now. Players come out and they rush Bruno, so you can't think that little ball over to Miggy Almiron and take it his chest and volley at the top corner. So they sussed him out. And I don't think Miggy's got enough adaptability in his game to change things around. So he just ran around like a fucking headless chicken today. Which unfortunately is the worst side of Miggy Almiron. That was one of the bad performances. Plenty of bad performances to get into, really, as well. Alexander Isak looking like he's completely and utterly burnt out. To be fair, the best chance I think we had in the first half was Gordon breaks, whips the ball across the box, and brilliant defending, I have to say, by Davies. Flicks it on, just hits Isak in the shin and goes out of play. But a sharper Isak probably bends that run. We've seen that when Isak's been sharp, which sadly hasn't been as often as we would have liked. You know, he goes one way, then he tucks inside. He takes that kind of defender on a bit of a merry-go-round run, and just the defender doesn't know what side he's going to pop up at, and then Isak scores the goal. He does not look sharp. He looks as blunt as a fucking school pencil that hasn't been sharpened in the entire school year, is what Isak looks like. He's knackered. He's dead on his feet. He's absolutely fucked, much like everybody else. So he's got very, very limited movement. The goals themselves, I mean, get stuck right into them as well. So it's actually in Doggy that scores the first goal. Kieran Trippier completely toasted by Son. Kieran Trippier is a fantastic player. I'm not slagging Kieran Trippier off. I love him a bit. I think he's a fantastic footballer. He's one of the best signings Newcastle has ever made. He's 33 years old, and he's starting to look like he's 33 years old. Actually, he looks like he's fucking 53 years old at the minute. His legs are completely and utterly fucking gone. He's played 5 or 6 games back to back, huge games, and he's getting turned inside and out, even by shit players like Everton, Dwight McNeil's, and people like that. Turn them inside and out, and he's making mistakes. Never mind against Son, who's one of the best players in the league, if not one of the best players in Europe, for pulling out wide and taking people all over the place. Son had him on toast. He pulls the cross in. I don't know what the fucking hell the defense are doing. I think it's Bruno. Is it Bruno Guimaraes? Or that might even be the second goal, I think, for Bruno. And Doggy sips in and scores a goal. I think the second goal, again, the marking's fucking atrocious. We're 2-0 down. Nobody's following a man. Bruno's half asleep. Lascelles looked like he was a championship player today. This little purple patch that Lascelles has had for me is gone. I think that's fucking ruined. He looked fucking shit. Everybody looked shit in the first half, to be honest with you. Joe Linton was giving the ball away. How much time did Joe Linton want on the ball? I know he's been banned from driving. Is he driving a fucking TARDIS to the training camp? Does he think he's Doctor Who and he's the master of time? He seemed to take 45 minutes every time he got the fucking ball to do something. 4 touches, 5 touches, 6 touches, losing the ball, putting us under pressure. Shit by Joe Linton in the first half. He started to play a bit better in the second half, to be fair to him, but it was more out of anger and frustration, I think. But yeah, the first half was fucking terrible, to be honest with you. We're 2-0 down in the first half, and it's just not good enough. Just absolutely not good enough whatsoever. We're making Richarlison look like fucking prime Les Ferdinand at Spurs. Is how shit we were. Go to me comments now. Yeah, smash a like if you can antagonize. Yes, I am on one, but please smash a like if you like what you're watching. William, if Dubravka never suits up again, it'll be too soon. I'm going to get onto him in a minute as well, mate, because he was fucking abysmal as well. Antagonizer saying Trips misses the Fulham game as well. Yes, he did get a yellow card. It's probably the best thing that can happen for him. To be honest with you, mate, I'd drop him for the AC Milan game. He wouldn't get in my team for AC Milan. I just don't think his legs are there. I think he's absolutely fucking wiped out. I really, really do. Another comment there from Splat 1000. Evening, guys. Sorry, we were 11 individual players on the pitch tonight. We're taking the ball off as left, right, and centre. We were really, really poor. George is saying, Chris, do you think though it's really just tired bodies masking tired minds? Possibly, George. I mean, this whole we're tired and all this stuff and everything else. I get it. I get it. The lads are knackered. We've got 13 injuries, whatever. Look, the Spurs have got 19 injuries, right? Yes, they've got a deeper squad probably than we have in terms of the quality. You can bring players like Lascelles off the bench. We can't do that. But there is players that could have played in this game today. I mean, Kieran Trippier, like I say, it's class. I love him a bit. I'm not slagging him off. Don't jump in the comments and stop whining at me that I'm attacking Kieran Trippier, because I'm not, right? But he was fucking dreadful against Everton. He made 2 horrendous decisions that cost us the game. So for me, you could have easily dropped them for this game, put Livramento right back, Lewis Hall left back, who I thought looked all right when he come on, to be fair. Bit of energy, bit of pace, putting a couple of good little challenges as well, to be fair to him. But we were totally shot, totally fucking dead on my feet. Goes into the third goal in the second half. Christ almighty, we come out in the second half, we're unchanged again. No surprise there. Eddie Howe's making no subs. People are screaming at the TV going, get him off, get him off, get him off. Makes no subs whatsoever. Miggy Almiron's fucking terrible. Isak's non-existent. Trippier's legs are ruined. Joe Linton's giving the ball away every 2 minutes, but there's no substitutes whatsoever. So Eddie Howe's not doing that. And to be fair, in the first 5 or 6 minutes, the lads started pressing a bit, putting a bit on, and it looked like Eddie Howe would give them a good talking to at half time. They were going to come out and just try and rattle Spurs. But Spurs weathered the storm. They get back in. The third goal is a fucking joke. An absolute fucking joke. The ball goes over the top. What on earth is Lascelles looking at? Did he see an aeroplane in the sky or something like that? Or did somebody catch his attention? Was there a bird flying by? Because he's not watching the fucking ball. It drops down. And then Dubravka what on earth Dubravka's doing? I did a video about David De Gea, and loads of people in the comments were saying, oh no, Dubravka's a mint goalkeeper. Dubravka's not a mint goalkeeper. Dubravka is not a good goalkeeper. He's not a good goalkeeper. That's why we bought Nick Pope. Nick Pope is a better goalkeeper than Martin Dubravka. We upgraded on Martin Dubravka. He comes out and he just fucking freezes. He doesn't know whether to shit or get off the pan. And Richarlison, of all players, who's fucking dreadful, slips a ball underneath him. Absolutely fucking dreadful, man. This prick was on a hat-trick, Richarlison. He's on a fucking hat-trick. He's one of the worst strikers in the fucking league. We made him look like a brilliant player today. Thank Christ he didn't get a hat-trick. I'd never lived it down. I would never been able to call that bloke shit again in my entire life. And then Son wraps it up with a penalty. Dubravka comes out, fucking terrible, all over the place again. Takes a fucking Spurs player down, and it's four for the penalty. We get a consolation goal back. Wilson come on, worked hard, did really well. I thought, given the fact he's got no match fitness whatsoever, and Joe Linton finishes it well, but shit from start to finish in Newcastle, absolutely shit. Just some more of your comments there. Yeah, Keith saying we got well and truly hammered at 7. Exactly, this is the thing. Everyone talks about how great we are defensively, right? And Eddie Howe has been brilliant for Newcastle, and he's got us defensively in shape, right? We've conceded 7 goals in 2 fucking games, and we've looked shot to pieces, right? Sven Botman can't come back soon enough, in my opinion. All of this shit, people getting a bit too fairy tale story about Jamal Lascelles. Jamal Lascelles is a player with limitations. We're now starting to see those limitations. He looked sluggish tonight. He looked slow. His mind wasn't there. His touch was piss poor. Sven Botman is none of those things. Sven Botman could come back into this team completely lacking match sharpness and still be a better player than Jamal Lascelles. Do not kid yourself on otherwise. That is the truth. So we've got a comment there from Simon. Simon is saying, well, this is what happens when you get CL football too early, few injuries like squad. Do you know what, Simon? I could not agree with you more, mate. This was the biggest worry when we got the Champions League. We didn't go out and sign 5 or 6 ready-made first-team players. The players that were signed, who were for the first 11 or the first kind of squad of 14, if you want, one of them knacked his toe, and the other one's a fucking gambling addict and can't play for 10 months. So they were fucking awful signings in retrospect. Don't get me wrong, I think Harvey Barnes will come back in and do really well. I think Harvey Barnes might even be on the bench come Wednesday night. Potentially, maybe Howe was keeping him and Botman back for that particular game. I don't think they're a million miles away. The Tonali deal will get me started on that dreadful deal, I think. Horrendous deal. This young 17-year-old boy looks like the player that we thought Tonali was going to be. Even today, I thought in tough circumstances, Louis Miley was very anonymous in the first half, started to come back in a little bit, some nice touches, but he wasn't protected. Bruno was trying to be too cocky, giving the ball away stupidly. Joe Linton was all over the place in the first half. And I think the second half, Joe Linton got pushed further up the park and Sean come back on. And maybe Miley started to come back the game a little bit because they had a little bit more protection. But Bruno was poor today, absolutely poor today. Paul was saying the game was over at halftime, 100% Paul. Subs should have been made then. You should have brought on 5 players. Why not bring on 5 players and just rest the rest of the lads? When we were 3-0 down, we were never getting back into that game in a million years, right? Unless we brought Prime Shearer off the bench and Ferdinand alongside him and fucking Ginola out wide, we were never going to get back into that side, that game when we were 3-0 down. The game was dead. Eddie Howe's in-game management needs to improve. His squad is threadbare. He's playing lads who are so fucked. If that was your car, you'd be stranded in the middle of the A1 with your fucking hazard lights on. You'd have no fuel. Absolutely no fuel whatsoever. Kieran Trippier is a motor with the blinkers on. He is knackered. He's a great footballer, but he's knackered. He shouldn't have been playing. Simple as that. And you should have hooked him at half-time, Eddie. Had the balls to do it because he was piss poor and he was getting toasted by Son all game. And I would have took him off at half-time and brought Lewis Hall on, but he didn't do that. Broken Flask is saying he actually felt sad watching the lads look so knackered. I do. It's exactly what it is, Broken Flask. I don't have a problem with the lads. I have a problem with the fact that he's playing them into the ground that completely and utterly fucked. What are they supposed to do when they're playing 5 games back to back with no subs and the legs are gone, right? He needs to be better with his squad management. Maybe we should have gambled with the youth, save one of the first team players. Do you know, a lot of people are talking about the youth, right? And I don't personally think the youth is that good, right? You've got to remember here, the Newcastle United's academy has been pretty shit for a really long time, right? We've only started to see some really decent players coming through with the Longstaff brothers, Louis Miley. The rest of them have looked pretty poor. There's not been a massive glut of players that have come through our academy, right? So you can't just throw in all these players and think they're going to do something. But this is what happens to teams when you are threadbare in your squad. We had opportunities in the summer, right? I know financial fair play and everything else as well, right? But there was good players available in the market this summer. We're still bringing on players like Matt Ritchie in a Premier League game in fucking December 2023. That shit does not fly with me. Matt Ritchie is fucking done, finished. That boy should be playing in the Championship. Simple as that. Even Lascelles, to an extent, as well as he's done in the last few weeks, should be playing in the Championship. Done it as well. We should have upgraded on all of these players. Mankio, your Crafts, all these other players. We should have upgraded on these players. Even Almiron, arguably. I mean, fuck me, the boy Minter at Feyenoord looks twice a player Miggy Almiron does. I'd get him back in January. At least he runs with purpose rather than just run like a headless chicken. And when he doesn't get any change of him, he goes back and back and back and does the same thing over and over again. Kendo's saying we were outclassed in effort and technique. They played the ball at defence 1,000 times better than our hoof and hope we did. It was really, really poor. I agree with you, George. Isak is skilled, but he's not fit. Almiron isn't good enough, but he is fit. Isak is 100% carrying a knock. There's no doubt about that. We've rushed him back, and he shouldn't even be in the squad. But like I say, thus is the massive hole in the squad of not having a centre forward. That was a huge error by the club in the summer. We should have went and bought a centre forward. We're screaming out for one. It should be the first player we sign in the January transfer window. If I haven't got that deal signed up already, I'll be flabbergasted. If they go into the January transfer window thinking that they don't need a centre forward because Gordon can play there and Almiron can jump in there, they're fucking deluded, the lot of them. They need to go and get themselves a centre forward. Simple as that. Sean is saying, is Dubravka better than Karius? I don't think either of them are good enough, Sean. Personally, I think Dubravka is done. I think that's the reason that we bought Nick Pope to upgrade on him. You got to remember, this is the guy. People were talking about this guy is like he's Peter Schmeichel, second coming or something like that, right? This guy was making mistakes. This guy was costing us some games, and that's why we went out and upgraded and got a better goalkeeper, Nick Pope. This guy then wanted to fuck off and be Manchester United's second or third choice goalkeeper. He did not want to be at Newcastle United. He didn't want to be here, but then he came back and now we've got the injuries. We're supposed to think he's a mint goalkeeper. He's not a mint goalkeeper. He's a flawed goalkeeper. Today was showing you what his problems are. He's too hesitant. He's too slow off his line. He doesn't make his mind up enough. He doesn't know what he's doing quick enough. That's Dubravka's biggest error. And in terms of Karius, other than being really, really good looking, as Zoolander would say, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I think he's had his time at the top and he's on the way down and he's just there to fill up a squad place. For me, someone like David De Gea and free transfers are no fucking brainer. If the guy wants to come and he'll play for the wages you're going to pay him, fucking get him signed up in January. Get him training with his squad now. Get him sharp if you can, and then sign him properly in January. And that to me would be a good signing to make. Keith saying, Chris, don't you think they were too slow? Tottenham Rose first the ball. Massively, Keith. Every single person was too slow. Every single person was too slow. For me, mentally they weren't there. Never mind physically, mentally they weren't in the game. I'm looking at them. I don't think there was one player. I'm not giving anybody man of the match tonight. I thought they were all piss poor, every single one of them. I thought Wilson grafted hard when he come on. I thought Miley started to come back into the game a little bit. The kid's only 17. You can't be too hard on him. It's his 5th game or something like that. It's his professional career, 6th game of his professional career. Some nice little touches here and there. But he didn't get enough protection from his other midfielders. He was getting swamped. Big physical lads in there, Basuma and Saw, throwing him around and that. That's the kind of thing that Miley isn't used to yet. So, he's going to have to learn quick in midfields like that, you don't have enough time on the ball. But Joe Linton, for example, was not doing any better than Miley. He was giving the ball away, left, right, and centre in the first half, If Joe Linton could have opened a fucking ball restaurant and thrown everybody a free main course, I think, because he was just giving the ball away for fun, So Miley's going to have to learn not to do the same things that his experienced teammates are doing. Another comment there from Graham saying, team totally drained, more mentally. His passing was lazy and tired. I do agree with that, Graham. Third goal, Miggy weak losing the ball. He hung around way too long on the ball. Miggy was another one wanting fucking time like he was Loki or something like that. Then free kick conceded. Dubravka, third, fourth goal should have done better. Hall was tidy. I did like Hall when he come on. I thought he looked sharp. He looked fit. He looked like he was up for it, which is why to me I would play him. I would play him against Milan. I'd drop Trippier against Milan. I really, really would. Sean says Trippier, talk about flogging a dead horse. I mean, I love Trippier. We're kind of turn on Trippier because he's been absolutely class, but he's just done. He's absolutely done. As Antagonized says there, love Trips. But if he's not disallowed to criticism, he's going to cost us. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to remember as well, he's a 33-year-old player. He's a 33-year-old lad. And he needs time. He needs time to recover. He can't. You can't throw him in 5 games and spin. And these are massive games as well. You had PSG in there, Manchester United, Chelsea, Everton. It was a tough game, They think the world's against them. Dyche has got them all whipped up. They're having shit house fouls left, right, and centre. These aren't easy games for a 33-year-old player to play 5 consecutive games. Livramento's in the squad, Hall's in the squad, Kraft's fit, Dummett can play left back, right? There's no excuse. Matt Ritchie can play left back, but fuck me, I wouldn't put him there. But there's no excuse why Trippier has to play week in, week out, week in, week out when he looks knackered like that. There's no excuse for it. We can manage without Kieran Trippier for 1 or 2 games, right? We can manage without him. Yes, you lose his creative influence from dead balls and everything else. Well, but let's call a fucking spade a spade. When was the last time he put a corner in for a goal? Yes, he's hit the bar twice with free kicks recently, right? It's not like you're getting rid of Bruno when he's bossing the midfield or something like that, right? Or Gordon when he's whipping in, crossfield passes or he's skinning fullbacks, right? Trippier has been up and down in terms of his offensive play. Yes, he gets assists and yes, a lot of it goes through him, right? But when he's playing like that, he's a liability at the back. He needs to be rested. The suspension against Fulham, I agree with you guys, to me comes at a good time because this guy needs a rest. He is knackered, absolutely knackered. Tom is saying we need a centre-back midfielder and right winger, I think you mean there, mate. Absolutely. I'm a right winder tonight. I'm having a right wind on. Do you know what? Fuck it, Tom. I say go to Saudi, right? I'm looking at defence. I'm thinking, fuck that. Go get Laporte. Get him back, right? You can even go and get yourself Kante if you want as a defensive midfielder. People are saying Manchester United want Calvin Phillips now. Fucking off you go, Calvin Phillips. If you don't want to come to Newcastle, we'll go get Kante to sit in that holding role. Do you know what I mean? Now we can do these deals in Saudi. Why not take advantage of it and fatten the squad up? There's so many players in that squad for me that aren't good enough. They really aren't good enough. And they need to get bombed out. They really do. Richie as well, Dummett, everybody else. All this nostalgia about these players who were with us when we were shit, right? It's great. They've done their bit and they've helped the squad, when they need to and all that stuff. I know Dummett can come in and do a job and all that, right? We need to do better. We need to upgrade on these players. We need to have a starting 11 that's better, right? And we need to have a bench that's better. You're not going to have that if you're hanging on to these guys from the past in Richies and Dummetts and all that. You need to say, thanks, lads, off your pop and get a better player in. Manquillo as well, players like that. Get out the squad, improve the squad. That's what we need to do. We've got a comment there from Turbig Zunderlop. This tired excuse is also tiring. They're getting paid hundreds of thousands a week. Yet tired, it's hilarious. Real Madrid play the same players day in, day out. That's true. But, the difference is with Real Madrid, the squad quality is bigger and it's better. And this is the difference with us. We probably have a really good, when fit, I think, a really good 14, 15 squad. Right, we're missing loads of players, and that is not lost on me. Right, we are missing a lot of players and good players as well. You throw the likes of obviously Wilson, Longstaff, Harvey Barnes, Dan Burn, Tonali in there as well. That's 5 players arguably who could be in your start 11, right? And we're missing them for long periods of time. But to me, you need to manage the squad better. We've said this about Eddie before. To play that same team week in, week out and see how knackered they are and hope you're going to get a different tune out of a guitar with 3 bus strings is not going to happen anyhow. And you need to take some responsibility for that, which is what Dom's saying there. He's sick of how playing his favourites even before the injuries. We were shite away from home. He didn't rotate the squad. He's going to have to answer that question, Dom. You're right. And evermore, we're not cozy with the owners. We don't get, special little exclusive interviews with them and all that. I don't think we ever will, probably because we're too old and not trendy enough, But that's a different story for another day. But we're not scared to say, exactly what you guys are saying. I agree with you, Dom. I think he needs to answer that question. He needs to ask why he's not managing that squad. And look at all the injuries as well. There's so many injuries as well. Is it because we're not managing the squad enough? Maybe the players aren't match sharp enough and maybe they are getting injuries. I don't know. But Eddie Howe has to answer that question as to why he's not managing the squad, especially when it's as threadbare as it is. Tim C saying, we have to be positive with Wilson, Longstaff back. Trippier has had any break time with the nationals. That's true, Tim. Trippier with England as well hasn't helped. Do you know what I mean? Because that has done him in as well. But yeah, I'm positive about Wilson and Longstaff being back. It was nice to see them back. Nice to see options from the bench. But they weren't even match fit to come. I think Sean lost the ball the first minute he was on, in all fairness. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, for me, that performance today was shit. And you should be allowed to say it's shit without any vindication. anyone attacking you. You don't get that here. I'm saying we were shit today. I'm not saying that the lads are shit and I don't support the lads, but they were shit today. Richard's saying, what the fuck is going on with Isak? Let's remember this is early days, not progression. Not sure how as an elite manager on current in-game decisions. He's a developing manager, Rich. We have to remember that. He's done a phenomenal job. And I'm not saying Eddie Howe out by any stretch of the imagination at all. I think Eddie Howe is a great manager for us, and he's been absolutely superb. But he's a manager who's learning his trade every single game, every single big game experience that he's put in. He's learning, and he needs to learn how to manage a squad better because he's not managing a squad very well right now. He's relied on players, and the players maybe themselves aren't being honest with their own bodies, especially when they're past 30. Can they play that game? Can they give what they normally give in that game? They're going to have to be honest and say, actually, Gaffer, I can give you an hour, that's it, or whatever. I can give you half an hour, that's it. And then give Eddie Howe the chance to make a decision. Maybe he feels under pressure to start players like Trippier, who wants to play against his old club, who wants to make up for the mistakes that he made against Everton. But he looked absolutely fucked tonight, Trippier. I could have happily seen him on the bench with Tino right back and Hall left back. And I don't think we get as cooked out wide as we did in the first half, certainly by Son, in my opinion. Jason is saying we can't have a winger that only has 1 foot. That's a very good point, Jason. And this is the thing that pisses me off the most about the Miggy love in. Like I say, I love Miggy to bits, but he's only got 1 foot. He's a limited player. I see Darren Eales loading him up because he's got that Atlanta tie and all that stuff, right? Miggy's a cracking lad, right? And a really good squad player. We should have upgraded on this kid in the summer. There was players there to be had to upgrade on him. Look at Moussa Diaby at Villa. He's a fantastic footballer. He was running City ragged the other night, running Arsenal ragged when he come on. We could have had that kid for 45, 50 million quid or whatever, right? But we dug in and we thought Miggy's the man because he had a great season last season. Sentiment over sense. We should have signed a player like Diaby, in my opinion, who would have been a much better big game player than Miggy. Would it track back as much as Miggy? Probably not, right? But sometimes you've got to accept that a player who has that much consistent quality at the other end of the park doesn't have to track back as much. And when you've got fullbacks who's got pace like Livramento and get up and down like he does, it maybe doesn't matter as much. But yeah, I do agree with that with your comment, mate, 100%. Mark's just saying, dreadful tonight, injuries have caught up. But that is true, and that's not lost on me. We are riddled with injuries. We are going to get the players back. But, there might be some serious damage done to this season by the time that happens. Phil said, Kraft can't play on Wednesday. Really don't understand why Trippier wasn't rested today. At the very least, bring him off 30 minutes earlier. I do agree with that. I think we left him on too late. I think he was absolutely knackered by the time he was there. Richie is a relic. Absolutely. Well said, mate. Well said. What we got here? Some few of the comments for you guys. I'm just trying to keep up here as we're scrolling down. Joe Linton did lose his temper. Isak for being lazy, did he, Marco? I never saw that one. I can't blame him because I think Joe Linton's probably frustrated. He's having a bad game himself, in all fairness. But what we got here? Rob is saying we need to drop the inverted wingers. Amount of times Trippier and Almiron refuse to put the ball in the box infuriates me. Isak's feeding on scraps. Yeah, I mean, Isak's not great in the air anyway. But I do agree with what you're saying a little bit. I do like an old-fashioned winger who can cross the ball on his right side. And yeah, do you know what? I nearly forgot this. How could I forget this, Geordie? I think somebody else commented this before as well. The referee on the Christian Romero tackle was absolutely fucking disgraceful. That was ABH. That referee was a shithouse and bottler for not sending him off. He even had the chance to go to VAR and look at that again. That was a disgusting tackle. I saw one in the Luton game as well earlier, which was bad as well on Phil Foden, which should have been another red card. That was disgusting. The fact that Wilson was on a deck when he fouled him, and he knew he went over the top of the ball because he pulled the face, Romero, the minute he come off, and he knew that he got a red card tackle in there, and that referee bottled it. The PGMOL are a bunch of shithouse cowards, and a player is going to get seriously hurt very, very soon with this lot not doing their job properly. That was a fucking disgusting tackle, and I hope Newcastle United write to them and tell them that there should be a retrospective ban for Romero for that tackle because he could have really hurt Wilson. He could have broke his leg. I thought the Luton kid could have broke Foden's leg if he'd not moved slightly to the left as well earlier. These referees need to get a hold of this game. I could do a whole podcast on that one, Jody. I really could because it was a fucking disgrace. And I think the refs are just absolute cowards, absolute wimps. And I'm furious. I'm absolutely furious at that tackle. I really, really am. It pisses me right off. Ian's saying Eddie doesn't trust Hall. He's been dragged off from the start at half time. I don't know what's going on with Hall. I think I said that in my preview video as well. Hall looks sharp today. I don't know whether it's just the fitness thing and he wants him up to this supreme level of fitness, but Hall looks sharp when he come on today. I thought what he gives you as well from left back, he does get very involved in the attacking play, and he's up, and he's sniffing. He was in the box more times, I think, than anything I saw there. But his defensive discipline, I think, is an error for him. He looks a bit lost positionally defensively, but you can work on that in the training pitch. And we've seen how much Eddie Howe's improved players on the training pitch in terms of what he's got out of Fabian Schär, what he's got out of Miggy Almiron, what he's got out of Joe Linton, Sean Longstaff in particular. He can work with Hall and make him better defensively. And I think there's a player there for me who could be like an Andy Robertson type player for Newcastle United. But if he keeps sticking with the two over 30 wing backs that he loves, who are completely burnt out, then the kid's not really going to get a sniff, and it'll be next season when we see the best of Lewis Hall. But I really hope that there isn't some issue with Lewis Hall. But like I say, for me, I'll start him against AC Milan because I think Trippier's knackered. I really do. Abu saying, make some damn changes, How. Yeah, don't disagree with that. For fuck's sake, this is why How will never cross over to the elite coach, because Pep, etc., make ruthless changes. I mean, they're very fortunate as well, Abu, that they have a much deeper squad, quality-wise, to choose from than Eddie Howe. I really do think that that's a major issue for the club, that they need to start addressing where the quality is lacking in the squad. You can't go to Matt Ritchie and think he's going to get you back in this game. You can't go to Emil Kraft, he's going to get you back in this game. Lascelles coming in for Botman. He's done really well, right? But he's still Jamal Lascelles. There's a reason he's not gone on to be an elite player. It's about time that these owners start to look at these players and take out the sentiment and look at it sensibly and say, if we want to be a top four club, which I think we're going to struggle to be at the end of the season, I really do, almost the sooner we get out of the cup competitions, the better in terms of the Champions League anyway. I hate saying that. I want to progress the Champions League, but it almost would be when we go out that, for me, that's the best thing, because this squad can't take it. We need at least 3 or 4 starting 14 squad players in the January transfer window. We really do. Yes, I said Louis Miley might save us a job in terms of buying a £40 million midfielder, and I still believe that because I think the kid's a really good player. But we still need a midfielder. We still need a number 6. We need a centre forward. We need a new goalkeeper, in my opinion. And possibly bring back Minter as well. We've got Billy in the comments. Good to see you, Billy. I don't know if you were on commentary duty today. That would have been a hard watch for you, pal. How's an experience at this level is costing us, but I'm sure you'll learn from it. Yeah, well said, Billy. Very sensible as well, mate. Because I think that he is a young manager still. It's easier for us to forget that he's a young manager, and we don't want to be too hard on him in that regard. I love how he comes out and he never shies away from it. He takes responsibility. He says we're not good enough. He even said at the start of the Sky thing that I was watching that it shouldn't be an excuse for players being tired. They've had enough time to rest and relax. And for me, I just think that is very indicative of the man, in terms of his honesty, his integrity, and his eloquence. And I love that about Eddie Howe. But his in-game experience has to change. Whether it's him and Tyndall need to change. They need to make substitutions a bit quicker and a bit more definitively, where the game needs to be either improved on, protected, or try to win the game. I could see Kieran Trippier was getting cooked. I could see that. Everyone could see that, and I just felt, for me, that they should have made that decision a bit quicker. I really think, in my opinion. So for me, I just thought it was a real shame. It was a real shame that it ended up going that way. So I'm just trying to catch up with all of your comments here. Mark is helping me out, starring away here in the background. Gary Barnes is saying, yeah, it could be worse. We could have spoken of 1 billion and been shy, like Chelsea. Well said, mate. And Manchester United, who got their arses handed to them by Bournemouth the other day, which was great. I did cheer my weekend up, to be fair. I'm going to remember that now, Gary. That's going to make me smile. Another comment from Sean. Remember how was a rookie at this level, never managed in Europe, but needs to be more flexible. Yeah, that is, again, it's a great point. Going off about what Billy was saying as well, Sean. He is a young manager, and he will make mistakes. This is possibly one of those mistakes. But I think, for me, we need to come back stronger from this. Wednesday's a big game. Wednesday's a huge game. If we go out of that competition, is it necessarily that bad? Don't shoot me for that. The squad isn't good enough this season to deal with that. We haven't got enough quality. We need to have almost you're probably talking about 16 to 18 really good players to come into that squad. And then outside of that, you'd have your Scott Carsons and the kind of things about City have. Outside of that squad, you need to have about, maybe 18 to 20 really good players. Yes, you're kind of starting 40 and are going to be elite. But then outside of that, the other 6 players have to be really good players. I'm not sure Newcastle can say that in this particular squad. So maybe going out of the Champions League won't be the end of the world. As devastated as I'll be in the moment, and financially the club will be pissed off because you need the money to sign those players we're talking about. But as Ty says, why not dip into the Saudi market? And like I said, you got players like Laporte, people like that there that could do a job and show up the defence. For me, I don't think it's a bad idea, mate. I really, really don't. I've got another comment there from, scroll down, comment there for, Geordie says, call me crazy, but I still think we'll beat Milan at home. This club is capable of that kind of result, Geordie. It really is. And I'll be back on tell you how class they all are and everything else, after today. Mohammed saying Newcastle need at least 2 loans from Saudi and 2 and 3 signings to catch up with top 4. I don't disagree, Mohammed. I mean, the only thing we've probably got in my favour is that top 4 could change at any particular moment. I think Villa are brilliant at the minute. The way they're playing, the bossing games, but they're going to get injuries. They're going to have injuries coming to them soon. If they lose him again, they lose a Watkins, they lose a Diaby, they're going to be in trouble. I think Martinez looked like he was injured in the night, didn't he, as well? I don't know if he's all right, but a team like Villa who have 2, 3, 4 injuries like we've had could really drop them down the table. Look at Spurs. Spurs were flying high, had all them injuries, dropped down. They're only just starting to come back into it now by bringing some of them players back. It's a good job Madison wasn't playing there. I think he would have had a fucking field day tonight. Could have been 5 or 6 if he'd have been playing. But January's coming and we need to invest in this squad 100%. We need to invest in our squad. You're right, Richard. We are way ahead of ourselves in terms of the journey of this football club. And sometimes it's hard to remember that. And you guys are reminding me right now, we qualified for Champions League way too early, I think, from a financial point of view as well. The owners were probably in that boardroom, in Alnwick Castle, or whatever it was in the fucking Amazon documentary, going, oh shit, we're in the Champions League, right? Yeah, we could probably sign Chiesa, we could probably sign this guy, we're going to sign this guy, and this guy. 5 or 6 players, right, that's 250 million. Shit, we can't afford that because we just spent 200 million in last window and we'll be in financial fair play and we'll end up getting fucked like Everton. Oh shit, what do we do? So this is the issue that you have. Do you know what I mean? So as Antagonize says there, we are a season or 2 ahead of where we should be. But it's always her way, the lads. Antagonize, it's always her way, the lads. But I'm a firm believer in it's okay to say when you think a game was shit and tonight was shit. There was a lack of discipline. There was a lack of continuity with the lads. There was no leadership on that park. There was tired legs. There was tired minds. And I think for me, the lads will know how shit that was today. They really, really will. But I'm not sure they had enough mental fitness and physical fitness to play in a game like that tonight. And I think that is the problem. As Graham says there, yeah, we just need to kind of hang in there till New Year. Fulham and Forest at home, Luton away. Fucking hell, Graham, Luton away is a tough game, mate. I saw them playing City today, mate. They are no mugs, by the way. Luton get stuck in, and the rebirth of Ross Barkley has been something sensational season neutral. But yeah, that's not a winner. That's not home banker, mate. But as long as we're no more than 6 points of the top 4, we should be okay. I agree with that. Enough teams competing to take points off each other. I do agree with that, mate. Very well said. Very well said. Antagonize says, yeah, they are poor. Nobody can deny that. I really don't think anybody can deny that in all fairness. But you've just got to go again, haven't you? You've just got to go again. We love these lads. These 11 have grafted their arses off. I think for me, they should have won that game against PSG. They were robbed, absolutely robbed. I think Ian said that as well, to be fair. Yeah, absolutely. They were robbed against PSG. A good win against a poor Chelsea side. I watched them against Man United when I was away. Obviously, I've been away for a couple of days. They were dreadful against Manchester United. Manchester United were dreadful as well, to be fair. We can beat both of those teams, certainly when we're fully fit. And then, we obviously had a really bad game against Everton where fatigues kicked in. And today, we were just blown out of the water by a team who just wanted it more. The backs were up. They're playing less football than we are with a deeper squad. They've still got a genuinely elite player in Son leading that line. As good as our players are, is any of them at that level? Are they as elite as Son? I'm not sure that they are. Isak's really good, but I think he's probably that tier below Son. He's not quite there. Son is a very, very good footballer. Very good footballer. I think Kulusevski was good today. He was busy as well. They've got some very good players, Spurs. Very, very good players. As do we, and a lot of them were out injured. So we have to remember that as well. But it's disappointing. It's really disappointing. And I think we need to see some changes in the squad when it's as threadbare as it is. So it is just disappointing. A couple more comments before we shoot, guys. Turbug saying, honestly, I think we'd be ahead of the likes of City, Spurs, Villa, no way, playing miles ahead of us. They are at the moment. But again, their time will come. Their time will come. Marcus is saying second half of the season is going to go in and be softer. The first half has been insane. I think fixture-wise, you are right, Marcus. There is some more generous fixtures, I think, in terms of the games that are coming. January is massively important to this football club. Massively important. We'll be doing loads of episodes on the transfer window and what we need and the players that we're linked to. Mark's computer will be going overtime as always. But there's 3 or 4 key positions in this team that need to be addressed. And I do think the goalkeeper's one of them. I'm sorry. The injury to Pope was devastating because I don't think Dubravka is somebody we can rely on in big moments and big games. I think Karius is done. Gillespie's just there for the crack. So I really do think we need a goalkeeper. And if we can get a good goalkeeper, for me, I think let's go get one. The De Gea deal to me makes sense. I think you've got that experience at 33 or whatever. He's got years ahead of him as a keeper. I'm not saying get rid of Dubravka, but I think for me, if you get a David De Gea into the squad and he looks sharp, he looks like he's ready for games in big moments like that, he maybe doesn't make silly mistakes. He maybe is more decisive. It gives you a bit more of a common presence at the back. And I just think Newcastle need to really look at this goalkeeper situation because I think Dubravka has shown in the 2 games that he's filled in for Pope, he was flappy against Everton. He was a bit soft with the shots. And I think today he was really, really indecisive. So I'm concerned about the goalkeeper, and I really hope it's something that the team look at in the transfer window. George said, by the way, Newcastle United unfinished business. The boots John Elliott, Robbie's brother, gave me were dear Doris from the last year. Brilliant, George. Got to remember that. We will be back to what's going on tomorrow night, guys. So make sure that you tune in for that because there'll be plenty to talk about, including my take on a certain former Newcastle United's midfielder's opinion on the opposite sex as well. I know a few of you have mentioned about wanting to rant on that one. I have been a bit busy with the day job, but I will certainly be giving you my opinion on that on the show. So tune in for that. At 10 p.m. with me and Mark. George is saying again, he would take David De Gea. Dubravka was weak. I don't disagree with that, mate. I really do think that, as Mark says, I agree with you. I think that Dubravka has showed there that he ain't quite a goalkeeper that a lot of the fans thought he was going to be. And I do agree with you as well, Turdbug, that January will be the most crucial of windows for us at a club. We keep saying that every window, don't we? But I think this one in particular is really, really going to be a big, big window. And I do think that, as Richard says there, De Gea in a heartbeat. I think a lot of fans who said no to De Gea after watching that today might change their tune, guys. I really, really do. But I think the Saudi loan option for me, I think is definitely going to be something the club are going to have to look at because I think we need bodies. We need bodies to fatten out that squad. We need to flick a few of them players that ain't good enough out of the way. And I think that the owners will be looking at. One last comment, guys, before we go. Andy H is saying, all things considered, once our long-term injured players are back, they should be fit and ready for a tremendous second half of the season. No excuses. Yes, they're injured, but they are rested. Well said, Andy H. And again, there's some good players to come back. There really, really is. And hopefully, with those more favourable fixtures, we will do the business. We'll be back for a match preview as well for Wednesday. And we'll be back for the post-match as well on Wednesday. Who knows what is going to happen in terms of the AC Milan game, the atmosphere, war flags, everything that's going to be on the line there. For me, that could be a huge game for Newcastle. We could qualify for the Champions League. We could end up in the Europa League. We could end up out of Europe altogether. Either way, Newcastle will bounce back from it, I'm sure. But new bodies are needed. Thank you very much, Splat 1000. Thank you, everybody, for watching as well. We always appreciate it. It always helps the episode flow when you're in the comments. Sorry if I've been a bit ranty tonight, but I was really, really pissed off with that game, really frustrated by it. The second game on the spin where I just felt the lads were on their arse. And I really felt that we weren't using the squad enough. So it's just wound me up a little bit. I'll be calmer for Monday, I promise. But as I mentioned at the start, if you're checking us out for the first time, smash that subscribe, come and join us. We're over 6,000 subs. We're still a baby. It's our 2-year anniversary, I think, on December 15th, I think it is. So give us a happy birthday on December 15th. Set your calendar reminders. We're not even 2 years old as Evermore. And to have 6,000 subs is amazing. Thank you so much to all you wonderful people who clicked that button. All free. Like the video too if you can. It really helps the channel grow and get out the old algorithms to everybody. If you want to be a member, there is an option there too, and you can give back to the channel, guys. But thank you so much for everybody who's been watching. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Thank you, Broken Flask. Thank you so much, Time and Tide, which is brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you, Geordie. Thank you, everybody. Have a cracking evening, whatever you're doing. Let's forget about this game. Come back and watch us on What's Going On tomorrow. We'll still have a bit of a rant if you're up for that as well. And roll on AC Milan. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you later. Cheers.